Thank you. In this talk, we are going to take a look, and I'm going to present and show you the available Python open source tools that you could use to visualize and analyze geospatial data. We are also going to look at the different tools that you could use with different geospatial data, because there's a lot of type of geospatial data. So we are also going to take a peek at that. My name is Samweli Mwakisambwe. I'm from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. I'm a software developer at Katoza. Katoza is a South African technology company that provides training, maintenance, and development of geospatial services. I'm also a QGIS core and QGIS Python developer. I'll touch more about QGIS at some point later. The following are the topics that we are going to cover. We are going to look at the world geospatial ecosystem, the number of services that are available, and just an introduction on what you should be aware with when you are starting to deal with geospatial data, especially for those who are not familiar or haven't worked before with geospatial data. Then we are going to dive into our main content for the talk, which is the Python open source tools. We're going to look at the range list of the available Python open source tools. We're just gonna select a few of them because the list is huge, but we're just gonna select a few of them, and then we're gonna take a look at how they work. Then we're gonna have a few examples. So we're just gonna have visual examples. I was planning to have some live coding, but my other computer didn't work. So we're just gonna have some examples, and then in the end of the talk, I'm gonna share my resources. You can visit them later, and then you can see how those examples actually work. And then at last, we're gonna touch a bit about how all these open source tools / packages can be used inside Django, and the current support of geospatial data inside Django. Now, the ecosystem. There's a number of services that are available that you could start using with the geospatial data. And notably, these are open source services. I've mentioned a few of them there, but if you take a look at the world ecosystem, there's a very huge number of available services and tools that are enabling the storage, management, and then the access and the visualization of all. At the top there, you could see we have PostgreSQL, which is the database for the location data. And then alongside it, you have PostGIS, which is an extension to the PostGIS database. It has a lot of functionality, a lot of ability to deal with the location data and the geospatial data inside Postgres. And then you have GeoServer, which is the tool used for sharing and publishing geographical information. You also have GeoNode, which is a content manager for the geospatial data. And then you have QGIS and GDAL, which are working hand in hand to enable users to be able to create maps, edit maps, and publish maps, style maps. And then you have Leaflet and Open Layers, which is just a few examples of the available libraries responsible for visualizing geospatial data. Now, the open source tools for Python that are available for visualizing and analyzing, doing analysis for the geospatial data. As I mentioned, the list is very huge, but for this talk, we're going to focus on raster.io, GeoPanda, and QGIS. We're going to touch a bit about what is raster IO and when can you use raster IO, and then we're going to look at the same questions for the GeoPanda and then for QGIS. We're going to leave other libraries and tools. So there's pandas, there's Shapley, there's Pottery, there's Matplotlib, there's NumPy, which is multi-purpose, but it's also used in geospatial data. I'm going to include them in the resource for this presentation, and then you can have a look at your own time. So raster IO. Raster IO is a Python package that is used to read and write geospatial raster data. So the main purpose of raster IO is for interacting and accessing and writing, updating the raster data. And its use case is very simple. You just install it as a package, and then you import it and use it in your application. The example there is raster IO is reading a TIFF file and plotting it on the canvas. The other examples you can see on the left there is that the raster IO has been able also to read a TIFF, but with the help of Plotly, raster IO also is able to categorize and show you different color schemes for geospatial data. So on the right there, you can see that there's NDVI, which is the vegetation index that shows how healthy the vegetation is. And also we have GeoPanda. So GeoPanda itself is a package that works with a variety of geospatial data formats. Compared to raster IO, which is working only with the geospatial raster data, the GeoPanda works with a range of list of the geospatial data. So right there you can see that's how you can use GeoPanda. Geo dataset is a module from GeoPanda, and from this example is the code is trying to show the borough of the New York City, and then after that they it plots those boroughs to a canvas. So the same example also is possible to add Pottery, Plotly, which is a package for showing different visualization, showing different data inside the canvas. So you can see there there's a map on the background, and on the top there's a New York City boroughs. Okay, now visualization using QGIS. So what is QGIS? QGIS is the desktop application that's used for the creation of geospatial data, creation of maps, addition of maps, and the publication of maps. QGIS itself is developed in C++, but it has support for Python through Python zip bindings. So it's possible to use QGIS as a Python package inside a Python application. It's developed at the team effort, and then it's available free to download. It has support for Python, as I mentioned. You could either use Python inside QGIS itself, inside the desktop application, or you can download or you can install QGIS as a package, and it's currently available as a package inside the Conda index. On the left is a picture of the QGIS contributors from the contributor meeting. And as I mentioned, QGIS is free to download and use. And it has a number of features that, that enable the visualization. So this is the look of the QGIS. There are a couple of features that enables QGIS to stand high in the visualization. And one of them is the temporal controller. So you see in one of the examples that I'll provide in my presentation, you can see that we are using the temporal controller from QGIS itself. And then we are using it inside a Python application as the, in looking at different weather data. This is an example of QGIS being loaded as a package in a Python application. From the left there, you can see there's some imports from the QGIS API. And then after that, we are initializing the actual application. And then we are fetching sample data from Alaska. So you can see down there, the raster file URI. And then we are setting up the canvas, and then we are showing it to the, we're adding it to the canvas. Yeah, so this is where I wanted to show you the visualization example. One example that I wanted to show you is how you could use GeoPanda to show the public transit data that we once worked on back in Dar es Salaam. And then another example that I wanted to show you was how QGIS is able to fetch data inside a Python application. So if you just go to the resource link there, you find a couple of examples, and you can try it on your own. Yep, so Django integration. So currently Django supports geospatial data usage via a GeoDjango framework. I think a couple of you might be aware of that. But also, as I mentioned, we have QGIS, we have GeoPanda, we have pandas, and all these packages can be installed and used as Python packages inside Django. So that's it. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for the presentation. I have a very simple question. What's your biggest challenge that you've had when integrating Django with QGIS? And the second part is, okay, let me let you answer the first question.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge for me was, so the first time when I was trying to use Django with QGIS, there was no much resource out that I could look out. It was like I'm the first in the area kind of moment. And that because there's not so much documentation about the process, and the awareness is a bit low. But you know, as doing this presentation is one part of the aim. You know, try to get the word out there that it's possible, and if people have any issues, they know where to go and who to reach out. So that's the main challenge. But after figuring out how like QGIS is available on Conda, I can use it as just another Python package. There's just some few configurations that I need to do, you know, not in Conda, in how you set up the application itself. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Samweli. Can you say a little bit more about your own work, or the company's work, or your hobby projects and the kind of insights that you're getting through Django and GIS?
Yeah. I think so. Us in Katoza are heavily using QGIS, and we have been exposed mostly in geospatial data and trying to do analysis with geospatial data visual and geospatial data almost every day. And one of the beautiful experiences that I had with Django is that we were working with this Python application, QGIS plugin, we can call it, that allows processing of analysis of land cover changes. So we are doing this on QGIS, and then at some point we got this challenge that some people might use this Python application inside their computer and they didn't have enough, let's say, resources. So we need this to move this to a remote server so they can just go there and access it where we have a lot of resources. So that's when Django came into place, because instead of there's no way you could host QGIS in a remote server as a web application. So what we did is we created an API using Django, and inside that API, Django API, inside that Django application, we installed QGIS as a Python package. And we didn't have a lot of work because of rewriting the logic, because the main Python application already had QGIS logic. So we just ported that QGIS logic from the desktop to the backend. I mean, I think that saved us a lot of work, and that's because we've been able to figure out the integration between QGIS and Django. But we are doing a lot of work. We also have a plugin that work on identify women discrimination that use GeoPanda, raster, and QGIS all together. And something that I'll add to the presentation resources so people can have a peek and look. It has a lot of cool visualization. And yeah, we are working a lot of awesome projects. The temporal controller, the feature that enables QGIS visualization, is the work that was done at Katoza together with North Road and other stakeholders. Yeah. Thank you.
I have a question. Do you find any advantages of using GeoDjango when you're using, but more in the sense of the admin or how to handle the geospatial data?
Yeah. I think it's a good framework, because currently I don't think there's any other support for geospatial application inside Django, unless otherwise you use GeoDjango. Yeah, so I think it's a very good. I didn't have any challenge. The only thing that there's just a couple of improvements that need to happen, like the way that for example, for QGIS is dependent on GDAL, which is an abstraction library and has almost all formats for geospatial data, which is not the same for GeoDjango. Yeah, but it's something that GeoDjango can improve upon. So I think that's the only challenge that I had. Have I answered your question?
Yeah. Thank you.
Good presentation. My name is Adam from Kenya. I'm a geospatial developer. If you compare, do you also use Folium for your work, or have you ever used it? It's also a geospatial library that I use it. How do you compare it with QGIS, PyQGIS? Okay.
I'm sorry, you say Odium?
Folium. There's a geospatial library called Folium.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard about Folium, but unfortunately, I haven't worked with it, so I can't compare it with QGIS. Is it open source? Yeah.
Well, thank you, Samweli. Please, big round of applause for Samweli.